Hey guys, thanks for joining another CloudTask Marketplace Skillbridge. Looking forward to getting a lot of you guys activated and most importantly, top rated within the marketplace. All right. So as you know, if you've joined before, if you haven't, you know the drill. We'll be going over what is needed to be activated. What's the difference between top rated? And yeah, we have a few, new things coming to the marketplace that we'll share towards the end, right? If you guys have questions, feel free to jot them down. And we will have our Q&A session towards the end. All right, so let me start sharing screens in just 1 second. We'll go into the marketplace, right, where we can see exactly what is needed. All right, share screens. All right, awesome. So straight here in the marketplace, we'll go over to, candidates, right? We'll check out, let me zoom in a bit. We'll check out Andres. We have Leanne, Patricia. Okay, everyone has a top rated badge. Let's see someone that doesn't, right? Maybe it just means they have to, work a little bit harder, fill out that profile, right? Gain a little bit more software experience. Maybe you have to, work on your English, right? If you're a B1, work on becoming that B2. All right. Let me see here. All right. So we have Shahara and yeah, everyone's looking. They've been working on their profile, right? So Maximilian. So Maximilian has a top rated badge, but he should work on his title, right? So what is needed, guys? A professional picture. We need to have a professional picture. We always suggest to the gentleman, polo shirt, maybe even a dress shirt. I've seen some gents go ahead and, get their tuxedo on. No, I'm kidding. But they've used AI. If you guys know how to use AI, hey, use it to the benefit. So a professional headshot, the more professional, the better. If it's a picture better suited for vacationing, you should think again. And once again, it should be yourself in that shot. Headshots are even better. Secondly, a title. The more impacting your title is, the better. Think of that as your subject line. Maximilian needs to, change this generic one to a more impacting title. We always suggest you guys put amount of years that you've been working and what type of industries. Has it been B2B, B2C? We'll throw in, what type of tools we've used. And if you have any specific success metric, success story that you would like to share, this would be a good opportunity. Because again, your title is more of that subject line, right? So I clicked on it, but let's say, I'm sorry about Sandra, I'm gonna call you Sandra, client focused operations manager, real estate and property management, BPO and financial service expert, 9+ years of leadership experience. So I'm gonna be more inclined to clicking on it and checking out her about me section. I see some numbers here. I'm drawn to that. I have managed operation teams of 200+ employees. All right, I love it. Most of you guys, if you've managed individuals in the past, or if you've managed a customer client portfolio, you haven't mentioned, how many individuals have you directly or indirectly managed? How much, money, revenue did that portfolio represent, right? So make sure that you're putting numbers. Numbers definitely talk. So good job here. And then down to her to her work experience, right? So we've gone good headshot, professional headshot, a title, an about me section, and now work experience. Your work experience is just like you would go and share your resume, a physical resume. This is evolved over to a digital resume, right? So think of that as the best way that you can express your previous experience before the video, right? Again, the video is probably the key piece for you guys to get interviews, but we'll get to that in a second. So just on the visual, I like the fact that, hey, even if it's 2 paragraphs, I like the fact that you are giving me more than just 1 sentence or 2. Some of you guys are just placing customer support manager, managed 10 individuals for a healthcare campaign. Opportunity for you guys to definitely share at least a paragraph, 4 sentences. Give us 4 sentences, and that will allow you to list out what type of tools you've used, what type of KPIs you've been held accountable and you've been able to achieve successfully, right? how many people you've managed, what type of industries. So again, guys, if you're listing 1 or 2 sentences as your work experience caption, you're not going to get a top rated badge. You're not going to get an interview, right? You got to show your effort, right? And we'll help you guys out. So customer support manager, got a good idea of what Sandra was doing there. Billing specialist, loaning account officer, process, record, and reconcile all loan transactions, including disbursements, payments, adjustments, and write-offs. Maintain accurate. All right. So I'm getting a better sense of what she was doing before. If you guys aren't doing this, you're not helping yourself out. So make sure that you have a professional headshot. Good job there, Sandra. Good title, impacting title, not just I am an operations manager, right? They'll see that in your work experience. So make sure your title is impacting. It's your subject line, right? If it's enticing, someone will click on it, check out the rest of your profile. Now, after that, the about me section, give it some love. If you don't have at least a paragraph in there, go back, use a little bit of AI. It's fine. It's fine. Give it a really good prompt. Tell it what you've done in the past, but you definitely need to give it some love. And then finally, your work experience. I recommend at least listing 3. If you have more relevant work experiences, list them all. There is no limit. But again, list at least 3. One shows that you're not really putting forth your effort. All right. So moving forward, work experience. Now, most importantly, your video, right? So your video, guys, is the make or break it. So just like your professional picture, we recommend, right? We recommend that it's professional environment, right? So if you got to use AI, do it. If you have to, just choose the plain, wall in the back where you can tell your spouse, your friend, your roommate, your kids that you need to make, 0 noise for this small opportunity. Make sure you guys are doing that. So dress to impress. Make sure that the environment you're taking the video from is yelling that you guys have a remote environment. You're going to represent this company, if they choose you, in a very professional way. Keep that in mind. So don't take it from your car, right? You might have to take an interview from your car, but your intro video should not be done from your car. It should be horizontal, not vertical. That way your head, shoulders can be in frame. If you're listing out what type of industries you've worked in, you can use some slight hand movements, and it'll help. But again, we recommend horizontal, not vertical. Don't have it in your hands and you're shaking a bit. Place it down, flip it. Make sure that it's 60 seconds to 2 minutes. If you're going over the 2-minute mark, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, reevaluate the video. You're probably sounding a bit scripted, and you should choose the best stuff you're saying at the 3-minute, 4-minute mark and bring it in on the 60-second or the 2-minute mark. So on the video, make sure you guys are doing that. And then be specific, guys. A lot of you guys will mention, I love working, with American companies. I've been doing it for over 10 years. Many, many different industries, many, many different tools. I've served XYZ, right? I've been able to achieve great success, but I don't mention that great success. I don't mention the industries. I don't mention, what type of campaigns I've run. So make sure you guys are being specific. The video is literally what will get you through the door. All we're going to do is we're going to promote it. We're going to push it, through our channels, share it with the company, say, hey, look, this person looks like a great match. But again, if you guys aren't putting forth that effort to earn that top rated badge, we can't, we can't help you out. So that was on activation, but I've been leaning towards what do you need to be top rated? So to be top rated, you need to be specific in your title. You need to make sure you're not putting 1 sentence. Same thing in your about me section. Same thing in your work experience. You guys are putting forth the effort, right? That's 1. And then again, it does come down to English level. So if you have a B2, advanced, C1 or C2, right? You will be obtaining that top rated badge, top rated plus. Top rated plus are those of you that have a C1 and above, right? So if you have under a B1 or B1 or under, then that means that we need to improve our English skills, maybe the fluency. We have to practice a bit more every day. Make sure you guys, don't mention on your videos, hey, looking forward to working with an American company so I can improve my English. You don't want to look like a student, right? What's making you guys jump on these interviews is when you're able to come across as a consultant. Maybe some of these companies haven't hired remote talent in the past. And if you've been in a remote seat in the past, right, you're going to be able to, shine some light on certain things, let it be strategy, campaigns, tools itself, right? What you've been able to achieve in the past. So with that being said, the video is very important, guys. Don't just take the first video. You should have a rough draft, second rough draft, maybe a third, right? And look at that final copy. Maybe some of you might be able to get it done on that first one, but make sure you're checking out the video and you're asking yourself, would I hire myself? Would I get on an interview with myself and then go and check out 5 or 7 top rated individuals in the marketplace? And you be the one to decide, right? So that is what's needed in order to be a top rated and then a top rated plus, like I said, C1, C2 English level. Now the bar is a little bit higher as far as your English level goes. And again, this is just because of what the hiring companies are requiring, right? Finally, I would also say, make sure that your rate, you guys are thinking you're being competitive, right? So I always recommend have a range, right? Have a range unless you're literally closed on just a specific amount. But the reason I say this is because you don't want to close the opportunity or self-sabotage yourself, from a company that might be very strict and firm and say, hey, this person's outside my range. I'm not even going to entertain a conversation. I'm not even going to go down that path, right? So what if that company, has a great commission structure where you could potentially earn anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, on top of your base? So don't close out the opportunity. I highly recommend you guys place a range, right? Hey, this is my lowest amount and this is my realistic highest amount. All right. So make sure you guys are placing a range. I know Sandra, she placed 2,353 to 3,529. Awesome. The system is already keeping into consideration the marketplace fee, right? So that's that 15%. So as you guys go into your profile, you'll be able to see that it says your net. Once you put your net, the system takes that into account. Last recommendation about the monthly base, guys. Don't go 2K and above, right? So if you put, I'm looking for, my my monthly rate is from 1,000 up to 5,000. That's basically saying, hey, I'm looking, to get anything to, sky's the limit, right? So be realistic. It should be based on the fact that you've had agent level roles, so SDR, CSR, and now, you're a manager, but now you're kind of also looking for a high paying SDR role, right? With that being said, recommendation, 1,000 to 3K should probably be the highest, gap would be a good recommendation. All right. So as you guys know, we'll go over a quick success story. This was an interview where typically, again, we give you guys recommendations on what you guys can expect on an interview, but you never know, right? You never know. So what we've mentioned in the past is be ready for someone to ask you, tell me a little bit about yourself, right? Have you done any research about my company? Do you know what we do, right? Sometimes it's flip-flopped around. And in this case, it is flip-flopped around where the hiring company is actually sharing a bit more about their product, their service, what you can expect with their company. So again, be prepared for those situations, but at the end of the day, you're not walking away from an interview without having some type of elevator pitch about yourself. So a quick intro, make sure you guys have it written down, you feel comfortable with it, but you're not sounding, completely scripted. So let's go, zoom out of here for a second. Let's go into this interview where Maria and Lee are going over a customer success / account executive role, right? She's meant to onboard new customers, but when there aren't any new customers to onboard, she is meant to act as an account executive, right? Showcasing what the product or what the software can potentially do, right? And convert those into customers. So let's check out the video. Let's make sure we can hear it.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining and applying.
All right,
so, I was very impressed with your experience.
Give me one sec. Stop sharing and share once again. All right, share screen, Chrome tab, right? Sometimes I forget. All right, Chrome tab and
outreach lead to start, and then go over your experience. I'll ask you some questions. Yeah, so just to explain a little bit about what we do. So we are
might be having a technical difficulty here. So I'll wait for the team to let me know if you guys can hear
email automation platform.
If you're not able to, feel free to drop it in there. I know Ebony, thank you for video features. Letting us know this is helpful and insightful. If you can hear the video,
it's great for businesses. Anyone whose customers are on LinkedIn is a great fit. So, B2B companies.
Okay.
So our customers are global. So I would say about
just want to make a quick
so I'll tell you a
little
bit about our reach lead to start. And then
stated in the past, make sure you guys are there early, right? If you guys are there before the hiring company, even better, right? If you haven't joined and you're a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes late, this is a huge red flag, right? This is your first impression. They're going to see that even in a remote work environment, you're still showing up late, right? So I know sometimes I might catch you off guard and say, hey, Maria, are you ready for an interview in 45 minutes, in an hour, right? And you might be outside, which is fine. And that'll happen, right? But 90% of the time, we give you guys a good amount of a time frame to be ready, to be in a good remote environment. So yeah, be prepared. Some companies are now getting you guys to share screens and, show you guys a speed test, right? Oh, you're working from your house? Yes, I'm actually here. This is where, I'm currently working from. Sure, let's do a speed test, right? So a lot of companies are starting to, go above and beyond and seeing if you guys, fit the bill. So make sure you guys are there early. Make sure you guys are accepting these digital invitations. Some of you guys are not giving it a little, yes, I will be there. That helps, not only the marketplace, but gets you into the habit of being on top of your calendar, right? So with that being said, they were having some technical difficulties. Lee had to jump off the call and jump right back on, right? So the main thing here is, let me jump over, give me a second. All right, cool. So we can go straight to Maria's introduction, because again, that's what typically 90% of the time will happen, right? So let me go right here.
I've been doing more like account executive plus onboarding, since what I've been doing, for example, in my last experience, I had to close the deals. I was actually doing prospecting. I was booking the demo, I was closing the deal, and I was taking care of my own customers. So I was doing all roles together.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, it was
actually really
funny. It's SpendHound, yes. Yeah. It was at a SpendHound. It is a vendor management platform. So I actually had a really good time. We had SDRs booking leads for us as well. But since I had a really big, like high quota, I started to do it by myself. So to do my own prospecting.
And is this SpendHound?
Yes, a SpendHound is a vendor management platform.
Yeah. So vendor management, so you put all your suppliers on there and it works out the savings and things like that.
Yeah, so you connect your ERP, like your accounting software, and then SpendHound is going to let you know all of the software subscriptions that you have, when it's coming, the renewals, and it's going to give you also price benchmarking data.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing is, that platform is free, so that's a big point.
Yeah. And how did the demo process go? What was the sales cycle?
Yes. So as soon as I got a demo from my SDR, or because I was able to book it myself, I had to jump on a demo, introduce myself, do a little pre-qualification to understand how they were tracking and managing software subscriptions, if they had any type of renewal reminder or anything. Then after the discovery session, to understand their challenges and where we can go and fit there. I introduced myself. I gave like an overview of SpendHound, and then I shared the screen so I could show like a little deck of our solution with why we're free, a little bit of history about the platform, and then I shared the screen to show a SpendHound, like a demo of a SpendHound. How does it look like?
Okay.
Yes.
And that was all on one call.
Yeah, I was in one call. Sometimes you could close in one call if it was the decision maker and it was the admin of the ERP. If not, then my definitely was like a follow up. Okay, so let me know, what do you think? What are your thoughts? And I would love to set next steps if you're interested, or if we need to involve anybody else on the call. And then I was doing the follow ups and then closing the deal later.
Okay. And so was that like a video call using Zoom or Google Meet or something like that?
Yes, Zoom link all the time, like video calls all the time.
Yeah. Okay. And then you mentioned you had a high target. What's the price point of this?
All right, guys. So as you can see, Lee is, having his screen is exactly on each company that she's worked for in the past. He's asking specific questions, right? Handled quite well, I would say, from Maria's end. I know the piece about, hey, look, I know that it might seem a little bit, easy to sell something that's free. But again, what we were selling was the data that came with their plan, right? So it's not as easy as you think. So those situations might be uncomfortable, right? Especially if you're being looked for a onboarding and account executive role. The question is, hey, how much have you been able to convert? How much money have you been able to generate for this organization? And it's initially it is a free plan, right? So coming back from that can be difficult. Be prepared. Be prepared for someone to ask you, what was it that you were doing in that previous role? Some of the questions that I've heard, some candidates get a little bit stuck on, and it's not that hard, is, walk me through, your day, what you were doing, what type of tools you were using. Mention, what type of KPIs were you being held accountable? Sometimes, I would see people freeze. And then again, you got to think, what role am I being interviewed for? Because I know some of you guys are interviewing like crazy. Maybe some of you guys aren't. But even if you've had many, many years of experience in different roles, we need to hone in on what it is I'm being interviewed for and go based off of that, right? So again, being prepared for the interview. You're more than, CloudTask has definitely, opened its doors with our remote career coaches. I've jumped on calls with you guys. But if you guys feel that you would like a quick mock call where we can have an interview, we can have a quick, interaction and give you some feedback before you jump on your real interview. We've always seen this to be very, very helpful. Reason for that, you get those nerves, those jitters out, and you're able to get some insight on, hey, how can I potentially stand out from the crowd, right? Because that's really what it comes down to. So guys, the video with Lee and Maria, again, quite positive, was because, next steps were given. So I know a lot of you guys, when you're on these interviews, you just jump off the call and you say, hey, thanks for your time, and that's it. If you are looking to land a job urgently, but at the same time, something that is aligned with your goals, make sure you put some urgency, on that interview. So, hey guys, thank you so much. Love what you guys do. I have a few other, interviews, to be honest. I'd like to know, are there any next steps? Should I expect an assignment? Let them know that you are, fishing around and trying to see what's the best opportunity for you. And I'm looking to make my best choice by next week, Tuesday, right? So I'm hoping to hearing from you, Lee. Have a great day, right? So that would be a more professional and a more urgent closing to an interview. So with that being said, the interview comes down to you being prepared, right? You being prepared, you researched about the organization, you were able to get on a mock call potentially, right? You were there early, because nothing's worse than, you know, you jumping on a call, you know yourself, you got there late, now you're even more nervous, right? Or you might have a different personality and get there a little bit too cocky. But again, at the end of the day, if you get there late, not a good thing. So guys, let's go over a few do's and don'ts. As we do, we'll go over and cover a few do's and don'ts you should do prior to that interview, right? What you should do during. So do's, as we mentioned, get there early. Get there early. Make sure you turn on your camera. Make sure you're dressed to impress. If you got caught in traffic, right? If whatever reason, right? And you need to have, you need to take the call from somewhere else instead of your, you know, your desk, your revenue generation station, whatever it is you call it. But make sure that, you know, the reason for that is strong, and you're going to be resourceful, right? So don't reschedule an interview an hour before unless it's an emergency. You guys will be able to decide what is an emergency and what is not. Don't reschedule. Make sure that you guys don't take the call, you know, from your car or, you know, the you know, your place of work. If you have to whisper, it's not a good sign, right? So again, make sure that when we're scheduling these interviews, you guys are aware of where you're going to take the call from. You guys do your research, but you don't get overwhelmed and start hyperventilating and getting anxious about becoming subject matter experts. You should be able to jump on their website, go and click on products and services, check out a video, and understand in a simple way what it is they do, right? The question most likely will come up. In some cases, like Lee, he might go ahead and say, hey, this is what we do. Exactly what we do to the T. That's going to be a great moment. You're blessed. But I would much rather, you know, I would much rather recommend you guys be prepared enough to be able to say, hey, I noticed that you guys are in the healthcare space, most specifically in dental. You guys have a software, right, helping with medical billing claims. And you also help with courses, both on-site. You guys have a few courses on-site, some seminars, and they're also virtual over the cloud. Awesome. Is that what you guys do? And then close it off by asking a question. That'll make it more engaging, show a little bit of confidence on your end. And again, you'll get a genuine answer as to you're completely off. Crap. No, that's basically what we do. All right, cool. Moving forward, they're going to either ask you another question or you can go ahead and introduce yourself, right? So do your research, guys. Don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to become a subject matter expert, but you definitely need to answer the question more than just, I noticed you guys are a software company. Great. No shit, right? So that's the one thing we should do. Research enough that we feel comfortable, but don't overwhelm yourselves. Moving on. So having a clear introduction on what it is you do, what it is you've done, what you could potentially achieve for this company. So that's the moment where they're going to say, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about your professional experience, both in an interview and on your video, guys. Keeping it personal is cool, but flip it, turn it on immediately to professional, right? So, hey, this is Danny. Now, I've been in the industry for over 12 years. I have 3 kids. Those are, you know, the people that keep me motivated in life. And, you know, for the past few years, I've been in XY roles. I've been able to achieve XYZ. So you have to flip it immediately and then go straight into your professional work experience, right? So that moment for you to make that introduction is either going to be you gave them enough that they don't need to now start, you know, asking every single question out of the books, but it's more, I presented myself very well. They might have 2 or 3 follow-up questions to that. And then it's opening up now for you to have questions. So moving forward, if you guys are going to these interviews without questions, you're not standing out. You're not standing out from the crowd. The ones that say, hey, do you have any questions for me? No, thank you. That's actually a negative point. If you don't see it that way, you should start. Now, having any random question is not, a good thing either, right? Impacting questions means you're showing curiosity in the role that you're expecting to land. And it also gives you an opportunity to come across as a consultant, right? So potentially if you're looking for sales positions and you ask them, hey, what's the lead source of the lead list that either you guys are, purchasing, running ads, I'd like to know what's the source of those leads, right? That shows curiosity, shows that you've done this in the past, and that you're not just waiting for a lead list to be provided. Start sending out emails, calls, and connecting without actually wanting to analyze and understanding a bit more. If you're looking for a customer support role, customer success role, if you see that they don't have a chat bot on their website, the question might come up, right? Hey, I've used chat tools in the past, especially for potential new customers, but definitely as a customer, being able to chat in with a human, I've seen that to be very efficient. Is there any reason why you guys don't have one on right now? Shows curiosity, shows that you've done it before, and again, you'll be able to showcase some consultative approach instead of just, okay, this is the tools we use, great, that's it. So again, guys, have impacting questions, one or two. It's okay to use AI. Give it a good prompt. Let it know what you've done in the past, and then you'll be able to get one or two questions. Or again, if you've done this before, you already know that there's a lot of power to asking one or two good questions. If you get someone on an interview saying, hey, that's a great question, I actually don't know, I'm going to ask the team, I'll get back to you, that's always a good sign, right? Oh, okay, cool. This question was good enough that the individual on this call that's been with the company for 3 years doesn't quite know how to answer. Good. That's a positive. I think I mentioned it already. Create some urgency towards your profile, towards your ability to land another job in our marketplace, outside of our marketplace, right? So it's okay to be honest and let them know that you're shopping around, you're looking for your best, opportunity, and make sure you guys, are able to come across and state that. Recommendations. We recommend don't bring up the negotiation on base and commissions if you haven't even been invited to your second interview. Use that moment that they give you the mic to ask an impacting questions instead of a specific, how much are we able to negotiate? I saw that on your job post. You guys are offering $2,000. Is there any way that, we can speak about $2,500, right? And when negotiating, guys, it should be more about your previous work experience, how you've been able to achieve XYZ, and how you're able to bring that success to this new company, right? So your numbers should be what talks, is also a recommendation. So let's move on to our Q&A session. If we do have any, feel free to drop those in there. If not, I have one or two that frequently get asked either by a hiring company or a remote candidate, but we could start with candidates, right? So one of the main questions that I get asked is, how soon can I expect interviews? And then from there, how soon can I get a job through the marketplace, right? So I would say the quickest answer I can say is, the more effort you put into your account, your profile, your video, that will deem if you get an interview within 2 to 3 business days, right? Because that's what we've seen. We've seen that anywhere between a day to 3 days, really good top rated plus profiles have landed jobs. We've seen someone get a job within 3 days as well, right? Get a job within the first interview. After the first interview, an offer was sent, right? So that's happened multiple times. And we've also seen when you guys have denied or rejected, those offers, right? Because again, you're shopping around. Maybe it didn't meet your standards. And as a remote candidate, you guys are open to accepting and declining an offer, an interview, right? So with that being said, make sure that you guys are prepared. You don't negotiate that on your first encounter. Wait for that second one. Can I apply directly to a job post if I am a top-rated candidate? Great question. So this is a feature that we have. It's disabled as of now, but again, rolling into the new year, it should be enabled once again. And that's the differentiator, right? You guys are top rated. You guys are top rated plus. You guys are being promoted. You guys are getting matched with these companies, and you have the opportunity to showcase your interest, right? Showcase your interest in this job post. If you're only active, guys, it shows that you haven't put forth an effort, right? Means that your picture's not that professional. Your video shows that you probably did it once or twice. The completion of your work experience, you probably listed one or two. Your description probably was a 1 sentence or 2 sentence, and your title, which should be like your subject line, was used more like a role, right? Looking for SDR and CSR roles. That's not a good enough impacting title. So with that being said, yes, you can expect that, guys, as a top rated and a top rated plus. All right. What's another, common question that comes up is about the negotiation. So you guys are negotiating the price point completely. What we've recommended is typically a company's not going to go 1,000 or more above their base point. Example, if someone says that it's 1,500 to 2,000, we haven't really seen any company go up 3K as their base, right? Now, have I seen people restructure their commission? So that can be, a better opportunity for sure. Giving that insight just means that you guys are open to negotiating, but don't close the door. Don't self-sabotage yourself, because I have seen it happen where a hiring company asked the candidate, hey, what would make you happy? How much money are you looking to make? So, the individual said, hey, $4,000, but the job post was 1,500 to 2,000. So they want you to feel comfortable enough to say the answer. But again, you need to be realistic. If the job post is up to 2K, they tell you, what are you looking forward? I would recommend, hey, I'm looking for 2,500, 2,700 as, my base, right? But again, over 1,000, never seen it, guys. Once again, now, what are some common questions from hiring companies, right? So what does the remote candidate or remote professional, have? What is on them and what is on me? Guys, if you're working in the remote environment and you have a tablet, you're just using your phone. You might have the gift of gab and you might land that interview, you might land that job. And man, I don't know how you did it, but to keep the job, you need a laptop, right? You need to make sure you had some headsets, right? You need to make sure that either a desk or somewhere designated where you can sit in a good position. Some of you guys are making these video intros off of your bed, right? And if I can tell you're on your bed, the hiring companies can tell you're on your bed, right? So again, what are some common questions? What do the remote candidates, what do the remote professionals come with? You guys come with the internet, right? I know some of you guys have worked with other type of contracts where maybe they've given you a budget for not 99.9% of these companies, again, are expecting you to have headsets, laptops, internet, right? Now, software is on them, and that is what we let them know, right? Software. So you don't have to come out of, pocket for any dialers, CRM tools, right? So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. That is a typical question that they're asking. If you guys are trying to move quick and create your profile and your laptop is in the shop, it's in maintenance, that's fine. That is fine. Make sure that you guys create your profiles. But in order to keep a job, you need those things, all right? If I refer someone to the CloudTask Marketplace, how long does it take to get my referral money? Great question. So you guys refer someone, you guys refer 10 individuals, right? It's until they get a job, right? And it's within that 30-day cycle. So I land a job the 1st of December. On the 30th of December, I will see that reflected in my partner stack link with my PayPal account, right? So yes, you guys remember it's referring, but again, it's getting them an actual job. And the biggest thing on with you guys, and great question there, is a lot of you guys might, be trying to get those first people in, but again, getting them signed up is one thing, getting them activated is another, and then getting them top rated. So my recommendation is send them over to our Skillbridge, right? So if you're referring people, send them over to our Skillbridges on Wednesday, send them over to the marketplace and let them know, hey, look, here's the remote candidate that, the remote career coach that helped me out. Here's David's number, here's Blue's number, here's Arturo's, Mateo's, right? So Carol, so make sure that you guys are sharing that as well, because getting them through the door and signing up is not enough for those $100. You would also need to make sure that, of course, they're eligible, right? Because if they haven't even been activated, they don't have that top rated badge, they're not really in the run. So make sure you guys are doing that as well. All right. And then finally, what is another frequently asked question from these companies? So again, and I think it's also a question from you guys. So even if you're not new to remote work or being a contractor instead of an employee, you know, PTOs, vacation time, this is a question that comes up on both ends. So as a free agent, because that's what you guys are able to negotiate these things. Now, typically companies are not going to offer PTO right off the bat. So we're seeing companies after 6 months to a year start offering that. Would I negotiate this now when I get an offer sent? Yes, I would not negotiate this on my first or second interview. Once I've seen an offer and I notice that XYZ is there, great. Now I want to see what I can expect after 6 months of great performance. That's great. That's what you guys should do. But again, the question comes up from there, and what are expectations as far as, you know, vacation time? What we've let them know is you guys negotiate that. What we've seen is that the days you take off are the days your new hires would take off, right? Meaning you guys as contractors. And again, that's a recommendation, right? So if you guys are, you know, attacking different regions, then the holidays might change, right? So keep that also in mind. But again, it's up to you guys and the hiring companies to come to some type of agreement. What we've basically told them is the days you guys take off are typically the days they would take off, just because the people you're reaching out to, either customers reaching out to you, either because XYZ. Some roles are different because it doesn't really matter which campaigns. But at the end of the day, you guys negotiate, bring that up towards the offer stage, my honest opinion. And that's it. If there aren't any other question, guys, I'll let you guys go. Have a great rest of the week. And it was a pleasure. All right. See you guys next Wednesday.